First of all, let me congratulate everybody on the 75th anniversary of the Victory in Europe Day. This is an important holiday, important anniversary. My grandmother met that day in Berlin in 1945 on May 8th. She made it all the way from Stalingrad to Berlin. Yesterday, President Putin held a telephone conversation with President Trump and President Macron of France to congratulate the Allies on this V-Day. And although all the military parades have been postponed until better times, just like the UPF annual gathering in Seoul has been postponed until better times, but we hope one day we will be able to reconvene once the air traffic is on again. Now, this is going to be one of the most politically incorrect presentations that you're going to hear. Why? Because first of all, I'm going to say that it's business as usual in North Korea, despite all the malicious and fallacious rumors about Kim Jong-un's health. Kim Jong-un and his family are well and healthy. There is no panic buying in Pyongyang. Give me a break. I mean, buying what? There is no public unrest in North Korea, despite some of the reports. There is no amassing of Chinese troops on the North Korean border. And by the way, Song Tao did not go to North Korea, despite some of the reporting. Song Tao, the head of the Chinese International Department. There is no unusual movement of North Korean troops along the DMZ or along the North Korean-Chinese border or the Pyongyang Defense Command. On the opposite, North Korea adheres to its normal political calendar and its regular national security plans. They just held the third session of the Supreme People's Assembly with 700 delegates from all over the country gathering, and Kim Jong-un was just prudent not to go into this meeting when nobody was tested for exposure to the pandemic. Now, North Korean Prime Minister and senior members of the government tour the country with their on-site inspections of state-owned enterprises. They would not be doing it if there were any emergency underway. New plants, new social capital facilities are being commissioned, like the fertilizer plant, like the Pyongyang General Hospital. North Korea, if anything, what we observe is an uptick in military exercises. North Korea continues to test its short-range ballistic missiles without any pause. North Korean foreign minister just met with the Russian ambassador in Pyongyang. Kim Jong-un sent a letter to Xi Jinping, congratulating him on his handling of the COVID. So nothing unusual is going on. Moreover, in contrast to the previous patterns of behavior, North Korea this time decided not to be different and adopted the world's best practices in coping with COVID-19. They closed their borders with China and Russia way before the United States or any European country, as early as January. They imposed the 30-day quarantine on all foreigners, not just 30-day quarantine, including the diplomatic couriers. Diplomatic couriers were basically secluded in the hotel for 30 days. They ordered wearing the mask to everybody. And you could see on the video when Kim Jong-un showed up, basically, and the reason he disappeared probably was because they practiced social distancing, very reasonable choice. Another reason, in my opinion, is, look, the guy has been in power for 9 years. He's getting comfortable. He's growing into this role. He's very comfortable about doing things his own way. And if he no longer wants to go to the mausoleum to pay this annual homage to his grandfather, which in the past he would do 7 times a year, in February, April, July, in September, October, December, now it's time to move on. And this is not the first time when he's doing something his own way. If anything, the North Koreans are now practicing social distancing at the highest level. In other words, nothing extraordinary for North Korea, which is the epitome of hermit kingdom and self-isolation. I mean, we always knew North Korea is the country which practices self-isolation. And now when the rest of the world is discovering the North Korean art of self-isolation, all of a sudden we are shocked. Now sanctions, whether they're affecting North Korean economy or not, probably they're affecting it much worse, much more badly than any COVID and any pandemic-related closures. Now, the big question is, what about Kim Jong-un's health? What about what we're hearing, all these rumors? Now, my answer to it is, and I know it's a politically incorrect answer, the newspapers do not want to publish it, and only one newspaper which dared to publish it was criticized for that. North Korea has become a target of malicious disinformation campaign aimed at first raising the uncertainty, creating chaos, and destabilizing the North Korean regime at the time when it was vulnerable, believed to be vulnerable. 2, undermining the North Korean regime's international legitimacy. And number 3, damaging the North Korean-South Korean relations, North Korean-US relations, and the prospects for dialogue and cooperation by trapping the Moon administration and the Trump administration in this big deception. Now, if we evaluate this Kim Jong-un dead, quote unquote, disinformation campaign results, again, it depends on the perspective of the analyst. I mean, on the one hand, when you ask yourself a question, which one is stronger, water or rock? When life places rocks in your path, be the water, as they say, because constant dripping of water will wear away even the solid, the most hardest stone. In English, we have a saying, little strokes fell great oaks. What do I mean? The masterminds of this disinformation attack on Kim Jong-un were able to accomplish a few things. And so probably they're beating their chest saying, yes, we did it. What did they do? First of all, they were able to deflect the global attention, not only from the Moon's administration's success in managing the COVID-19 crisis, to its alleged failure to prepare for the quote unquote North Korean contingency. They were able to deflect from this, the world's attention from the crushing defeat of the opposition party in the South Korean elections to this, again, to the inability of the Moon's administration to prepare for the contingency. Second, and more importantly, they were able to hijack the North Korean policy agenda in Seoul and set the direction of North Korean discourse in global media, at least for 2 weeks, for 2 full weeks, when they kept telling us that Kim Jong-un is dead, the succession is in trouble. They even cooked up that fake video showing Kim Jong-un's funeral, which is irresponsible, which is outrageous. And they kept telling us that the Moon's administration policies and Trump administration policies vis-a-vis North Korea are inadequate, that humanitarian intervention is in order, and that reunification preparations by force must be made as soon as possible. In the process, the reason why they're so happy is because they were able to test the key resonating themes, most effective tools, and the platforms of communication for the spreading of their disinformation, to see how that echo chamber works and really what they can achieve with that. And in the meantime, of course, they reminded the world how fragile the Kim regime is, how little the world knows about its inner workings, and how dangerous it is to leave nuclear weapons in its possession. So again, if you're a hardline opponent of the North Korean regime, then the latest man-made, this drip of malicious poison was definitely worth it. On the other hand, if you take a different perspective, basically if you believe in what doesn't kill us make us stronger, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger, then Kim Jong-un's yet another resurrection from the dead had the boomerang effect, hurting the perpetrators of this lie. It was a big lie, and strengthening Kim Jong-un in the international opinion. I believe this disinformation campaign actually backfired on its perpetrators. Why? Because not only it confirmed how little even the world's so-called North Korea experts really know about North Korea and how the Kim regime operates, but it also undermined the credibility of the North Korean defectors turned politicians and all the quote-unquote sources inside North Korea. They just cooked up that stuff. But more importantly, it hurt the reputation of global media outlets pontificating about the Kim's regime and essentially perpetuating that lie and refusing to open the door for those people and give the opportunity to those people, to analysts who basically said that's nonsense. There is nothing that's going on. They just wouldn't publish it. Now, these lies, they also enhanced Kim Jong-un's image as a superhero, a superhuman of sorts, who can come back from the netherworld and rise from the ashes. I mean, if anything, they helped the North Korean propaganda to take the Kim's cult of personality to a higher level. Now, thank God, due to President Trump's and President Moon's prudence, these people, they failed to hurt the personal relations between Kim Jong-un and President Trump and Kim Jong-un and President Moon. And thereby, I believe inadvertently, these people, they helped actually improve the prospects for the resumption of bilateral dialogue between the US and North Korea after the US presidential elections, when President Trump is reelected this November. And also they helped inadvertently, again, despite their wishes, to improve the prospects for inter-Korean relations in the midterm, especially after this amazing victory which the President Moon administration scored in the parliamentary elections. Now, in conclusion, basically, I would like to say that I'd like to commend the Washington Times Foundation, the Washington Times newspaper, for staying away from the fake news production, which was directed against the inter-Korean reconciliation, was directed against the denuclearization process by those people who perpetrated it. I know who they are. I'm not going to say it on the air here. I'd like to emphasize the role of the UPF as one of the few true connectors in this world, because the demand for its honest and moral leadership and effective brokering is only going to grow in the post-pandemic world of accelerating deglobalization, import substitution, and growing competing nationalisms, rising fears, and growing selfishness. So it's more important than ever to remind the humankind that we are one family under God. And if we are connected and collaborate, we shall overcome this plague of the 21st century. Thank you very much. God bless you. Stay healthy and stay safe, and take care of your loved ones.